5:06 p.m. We'll start off with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And remain standing, and I'll do the prayer. All heads are bowed and eyes closed. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to have this meeting. Let us do your will tonight for the village of Dalton as you would see to have it done. And thank you for allowing us to be here. Bless those who were able to make it and those who couldn't make it, as Trustee Denton couldn't make it out tonight. It's in your precious Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, I'll take roll call. Trustee Muhammad here, and Trustee Pearson here, and Trustee Denton, as I said, is absent. Excused absence. Okay, I have a little error on the agenda. I got items under old business. There are all new business. And we're going to start off with patrolized body cameras program by Chief Collins. Chief, if you could explain that a little bit.
Okay, we had initially begun discussion about having body-worn cameras on the officers. And just to go into a little bit about why, even though it seems to be a trend across the nation to equip police officers with body-worn cameras, they do come twofold. One is to protect the village or the municipality from false claims that an officer did or did not do something, but it also protects the citizen and captures things that probably wouldn't have been caught unless you go back and review. So your citizens out there who make claims against the police officers, those can be investigated a lot easier by having video evidence or voice recordings also. But it also assists in cases. When police officers arrive on scenes, the camera should be rolling and they will capture the events as they start unfolding in front of them, so it helps them put together cases if they have to arrest someone. But mainly what we want to make sure we do if we adopt a program like this is the state of Illinois has strict guidelines when it comes to body-worn cameras, even more restrictive than other states. Even though the regulations and the rules are very burdensome on the officer, I think it outweighs what the benefits are. So the benefits of having it outweighs what the burden. What I'm trying to say is outweighs the burden of what the laws are. So we would have a very strict policy in place on how the body-worn camera is used. One thing that's required of the state is when an officer receives a call and has any type of interaction with the public, he must turn the camera on. The camera must come with a pre-event, meaning it is already recording even prior to turning on the camera. When you press the on button, it goes back those designated amount of seconds to capture the beginning and also capture the end of recording. The officer must turn off the camera at the request of a victim or a witness who doesn't want to be on camera providing a statement. And all those have to be stored. Now, certain things, certain data, there are storage limits. For most things that have no value, 30 days. For things such as capital crimes, such as your homicides, murders, things like that, those have to be stored forever for as long as we can upkeep that data. The other part of this is partnering with a company that can store this data. So it would be very, very, very costly for the village to have its own servers to store video data. Video, digital data it takes up a lot of space. So we would partner with the company that I'm recommending is Intrinsic. We've been actually working with them for the past year or so. And we really like their storage solution and the dashboard. It's really easy to maneuver, work through, and it's also cost effective for us. They're one of the lower priced data solution companies. So having all of that in place, we would make sure that we have our policy in place, make sure that we stick to Illinois state law as it comes to it, and then go from there. So Patrol Eyes, this particular company, has also partnered with Intrinsic. Intrinsic is more of the software company. They don't make the hardware, and they don't fix the hardware. So Patrol Eyes is one of the higher quality cameras, but at a lower cost than such as the ones made by Taser or Axon, as they're called today. And the certain features on them makes it cost effective for us to explore this particular company. But mainly what the walkaway that I'm trying to get is that we actually get a consensus to explore having body-worn cameras for our officers, whether it's with Patrol Eyes or Intrinsic or some other company.
You mentioned Taser, the other high-end camera. What is the warranty on the, if we were to go the path of Patrol Eyes, Chief?
So for this particular camera, if anything goes wrong with it, they will replace the camera. So they would make sure, or Intrinsic makes sure, that we have extra cameras on hand, so that if one goes down, we're not waiting for a replacement or waiting for it to be fixed. We just put that one in service and send them the one that went down, and they would replace the one that went down. So they will cover the warranty all the way up until the end of what our obligation, which would be 60 months.
5 years. So basically a 5-year warranty.
Yes.
How many cameras are we talking about total?
40 cameras.
And would that completely outfit the whole department?
That would outfit all of patrol and all of our detectives.
And the total cost over the 5-year period?
The total costs $120,604.50, which is broken up over 5 years.
Say that again, Chief.
It's here on the second page.
Oh, it's on the second page.
Right. $120,604.50.
I see that.
And that approximately $20,000 a year, the cost of that, is that budgeted out of the police budget, or is that, can that money come from
Asset forfeiture.
forfeiting funds, or?
That would be ideal for the police department to begin the payment plan out of the asset forfeiture account. That is a huge amount to try to budget from the general fund. And because we can use asset forfeiture funds for equipment like this, I would prefer that we reduce any obligations to the taxpayers by using those funds.
Okay.
And if we decide to do this, how long do it take to get them?
To be honest with you, I don't know how long it would take for them to come. But one thing that we want to make sure that happens is when that equipment gets here, someone from the company arrives here with it to start training all the officers on it. So there's 2 trainings that they'll have to do. Well, actually 3 trainings. The first training will be how to operate the camera. Because there are functions on it where you can actually view footage without having to connect it to a computer. The second training would be how to use the software to upload the footage. At the end of the shift, you put the camera into a docking station and that footage gets uploaded. And officers who go on calls that want to save footage for their cases, then they would have to go into the software and earmark or tag or whatever the terminology is to save that footage so that it doesn't get deleted. The other thing about Intrinsic is they have a very robust program to do redaction. Redaction is if we're on a call and there's the faces of juveniles on there or a face of a witness that we don't want identified, there's a way to blur out those faces or blur out certain elements that we don't want into the video. It doesn't destroy, or it's non-destructive, so it doesn't destroy the original video. It just provides us a copy of redacted video.
Can a officer completely delete video?
No, an officer cannot delete video, even from the camera. There's no way to, unless you destroy the recording, the memory device in it. The memory device would have to be destroyed in order for the officer to destroy the video. But even in the software, officers will not have that level of access to be able to manipulate or hide or erase or delete any video recordings. Every element there's an audit trail on it. It will tell you who looked at it, how long they looked at it, what date they looked at it. It will tell you even if it was downloaded. It will tell you even if someone printed out a report. So every step of that piece of video has an audit trail to it.
After 5 years, we've paid for the cameras. What, as far as maintenance, warranty is over at that time. So if there's something that happens with the hardware, who do we have? Patrol Eyes, do we do an extended warranty? How does that work if you have some maintenance issues with the system?
We could possibly do an extended warranty through Intrinsic. And Intrinsic will always be our data person. They're the ones that we don't deal directly with Patrol Eyes. So Intrinsic basically becomes the vendor for the Patrol Eyes camera. So they will always take the lead on any kind of repair, maintenance, or replacement. So I'm sure we can always get a extended warranty. That's a question I'd have to ask them. And even still, at the cost per user per camera, it's $387. So it's not that expensive to replace it.
And but you have to add that $42 to that cost, right? For this, that's the storage of the actual footage, correct?
Yes.
That goes on the cloud with Intrinsic.
Yes. Right. And one thing about this particular company, the data that we store on their servers, we still own the rights to it. Some companies want to be able to have the rights to the data if it's stored on their property, basically. But we will always own the rights to our data. Whether we want to move it to another company or not, we can move it without having to jump through hoops.
Let's see, I don't have any more questions on this. What are you looking for from us, from the board tonight?
I'd like to continue to pursue getting these body worn cameras through Patrol Eyes, through Intrinsic.
Okay, I think this is a great idea, and it don't look like it looks like we could do it out of asset forfeiture, which is no cost to the residents. So I'll take a consensus. Trustee Muhammad?
Yeah, I agree. I think we should also move it to the regular board meeting on January 7th for a formal vote.
And I agree, and so we'll move it to the next regular board meeting of January 7th, and I'll reach out to the trustees and get them copies of the Patrol Eyes brochure that you sent me, and get us, see if I can get us yes votes on that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
The next item on the agenda is B, the hiring of 7 part-time police officers. This is something that I truly believe every officer that we would hire would be able to write citations and traffic tickets and to cover their salaries, because it's part-time police officers are at $15 an hour, I believe, Chief?
That's correct, 15.
And so 7 police officers, well, let me figure that out here real quick. That's 15. They're allowed to work 30 hours a week?
To keep them from being eligible for benefits, we'd have to keep them at 30 or under.
So that's $450 a week if they work the full 30. Times 7 is $3,150, I believe.
Right, and if I can also add to it, if approved, what I would want to do is start with a minimum of 16 hours per week per officer. And with that minimum, I would like to keep them at that minimum until we get a good idea of how much they are producing out there.
Okay.
If they're not producing enough to cover their salaries, then we may need to address it. So I want to start off small, see where we are, and then work our way up to possibly a 24-hour maximum. I really don't want to go to 30 hours to take the chance for them to going above 30 hours in case we get some kind of major event going on and they have to stick around.
So for the start, 225, I mean, $15 times 15 hours is 225 a week.
16 hours, 16.
Oh, you said 16.
2 8-hour shifts.
Okay. So that's 240. And just asking a question, how would you monitor? I mean, is there a way to monitor the traffic tickets or the activity that they're...
Right. So anything that our part-time officers bring in, we can segregate that from the other officers, especially now that we'll be getting that new software with DACRA installed. So we were limited to being able to look up per officer. So if star number 114, we wanted to see what they produced between such and such dates, we did not have that capability, but now we'll have that capability. So the part-time officers would be assigned a star number, and you can actually keep track of what they're doing, how much they're writing, parking tickets, compliance tickets, or whatever.
And do we have enough squad cars to put 7 part-time officers in?
Right now, we're decent on squad cars. There may be a couple that have to be replaced over the next couple years, but right now, at this point, we're good on squad cars.
So this would help out a lot tremendously on the people running these stop signs that residents are complaining about, and also speeding.
And visibility also.
And give visibility.
Yes, sir.
Trustee, you have any questions?
No.
Okay, well, I'm all about bringing in police officers, and this is a good way for us to bring them in. Chief, did you have anything else you wanted to say on?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So I recommend that we move this forward. I'm going to take a consensus here. Trustee Muhammad?
I agree. Move it forward to the regular board meeting, January 7th.
And I agree to move it forward to the regular board meeting, so it is adopted, and we'll take it and put it on the next agenda. The last item in police, Chief, I know I just got that budget to you today, but do you have any idea where you're at with the budget to actuals for?
Looking at it compared to the last one that we received, it looks like we're almost right on track. I mean, there are some items that are above where they're supposed to be. In particular, line item 511, 511. This particular one,
Okay.
I don't know what all is coming out of this account. And I believe as we play catch up with our past due bills, even after we've completed a budget, bills are still being paid from these particular line items, which is probably why this increase is here. So there's nothing that the police department is particularly doing to overspend to the point of 679% over that line item. So that'll take a little bit more investigation to see what's coming out of there.
What is that maintenance service? What is that exactly?
This is, it has to do with the building. So if we need a new door, or the door needs to be fixed, or the air conditioner goes down. So it's just the maintenance on the building. So the past work that's been done on there, we used to have Scott to do it, and I know we didn't have large invoices that became of it. So, like I said, it's going to take some investigating to find out why we're at this amount for this particular line item.
We need to put an ask.
Okay.
We need to ask Ms. Redmond about that.
Yeah, we can check with Ms. Redmond, and thank God it's not a big dollar amount, but we'll find out what that's about, because that is a high percentage, and we don't know what that's about.
I have a question, if you don't mind. You had 84% on the vehicle maintenance.
Right.
And that's a big issue with the trustees, that our maintenance costs seem to be very high per month when we see the warrant list.
Right, that's the next item I wanted to address. In particular, what happens when officers have crashes in these squad cars? Because of our large deductible, the initial payment for these repairs come out of the police budget. So it's a choice of having the officers drive around in beat up raggedy squad cars or get them fixed. Or some of the issues, if it breaks down and it's not a warranty item, then we have to pay for it, such as a transmission, or get the transmission fixed, or have some kind of engine work done. But this particular line item, unless we have a complete new fleet, we're probably going to see. I mean, because as you already know, this is every year. This particular line item is up at this point, so we should probably either allocate more money to this line item so we don't ever reach this point of having to be over budget, or when we start replacing squad cars, we'll start seeing this go down. But if I could back up for a moment, how do we try to curb the traffic accidents that these officers are involved in? Now, there have been several that are completely not the officer's fault. There's nothing we can do about that. We just try to eat it up and hope the other person's insurance covers our loss. The other part is, if a traffic accident appears to be an officer's fault, we investigate it, and if the officer is at fault, then the officer is suspended without pay. So that is an incentive to try to be safer out on the street and have these officers take better care of these squad cars.
I don't think an issue is with the accidents per se. I think the issue with the trustees was the maintenance costs, as far as I know that oil changes have to be done every, I don't know if you are using synthetic oil or whatever, but every month that we get the warrant list, it seemed like an inordinate amount of vehicles being maintained, and the majority amount of the police department, because you have the largest fleet.
Yes, sir.
There's no way we can reduce that, because one of the suggestions was having it done internally, such as the basics, oil changes, brake jobs, that someone suggested Public Works could do. And I think Public Works said it could happen if they had another mechanic full-time on duty. Is there anything outside of that that you see that we can reduce that cost? Because it's big every month.
My opinion is that any maintenance of that level should be done in-house. Changing the oil, topping off fluids, things like that. If we need new tires, we should already stockpile those tires and just be able to change them there, things like that. But the other part we look at is that, does Public Works have the personnel to do this? And even when we send a car over there, how long will it take to get that back from them? I mean, if they're overtaxed with other things and they only have one person working on the vehicle or no one working on the vehicle, then the vehicle just sit over there. But does the cost of sending these vehicles out equal the cost of hiring another person over in Public Works to do this type of work?
Well, it's hard to say. We added up 1 month and we came up with a dollar amount for the repairs of all the vehicles. I think it was like $20,000 1 month, but again, we don't know if that was all from, I mean, it was probably everything in the village, all the vehicles. So I think we'll probably have to do a analysis or some kind of comparison. I think we need a couple more mechanics, but at least one to start, because right now he says he's got one mechanic and a helper, and so I don't think that he has enough people. Excuse me. So maybe we can talk with Matt and look at that, and Trustee Stubbs, since that's her committee, and see if we could address getting mechanics that will be able to curb some of this, because it seems like it's high in all departments. The maintenance on vehicles is just extremely high. So I think we'll have to address that, because we would like to see that number down also. But what do? You got to send them out. Right now, there's no other choice but to get them repaired on the outside. So I think as a board, we're going to have to look at that. But if there's anything that you can do, I'm sure you'll do it, but we need to see if we can get that down. Trustee Muhammad, you have anything else on that?
Nope.
Anything else on the budget, Chief? I see another item here. It looks like a small item, but it's at 102%.
Right. That is item 612. Item 612.
And what is that?
Maintenance supplies and equipment. Most of it is the ink and toner and paper kind of thing.
Okay.
Often we try not to run out of paper, but sometimes we don't have enough paper, and we end up having depending on the cases also, because you have to make copies of certain things. I mean, if we have a lot of cases, we're going to use a lot of paper. We're going to buy a lot more cases of paper and toner and the ink, and it also includes the service on the copy machine.
Okay.
Rental, when you say service, the rental and maintenance.
Right, rental and maintenance on it also.
Okay, that's it for budget of the police department. And the next item, new business, is A, reopening of Fire Station 2. This is for you, Chief Dyer. Can you tell us what we need to do to reopen Fire Station 2, where you're at with it? I know the mayor spoke at one of the board meetings, and he said at the end of January he expected that to be open. Can you tell us where you're at with it?
Just what the mayor said. He said sometime in January, and every time I talk to him, he tells me sometime in January.
Okay, I have a few quotes that you had originally sent me, two to be exact, in a report. One quote seemed to be in the $4,000 range. One quote says $965 for proposal 1 and proposal 2. Have you studied any of these proposals from different companies?
So I believe those proposals, those are dated when the station first closed down, correct?
Yeah, July 9th
July 9th.
and
Okay.
the 18th.
So we
18.
have a couple of different problems. That proposal came from the guys getting sick, and that's a cleanup proposal. So we have the cleanup, and then we have the maintenance. So we don't have anything on the maintenance. We have a roof that needs to be replaced, a rodent problem that you and I spoke of, that you even witnessed yourself, leaking roof, leaking urinals, bad doors that may be allowing the rodents inside through the doors. We don't know how they're getting in. So the quote that you have in front of you, I believe, is a cleanup quote, and that was just to do stuff like
Correct.
clean the floors, clean the carpets, maybe dust here, do wax the not wax the floors, but scrub the floors, things of that nature. So those are two different. We're talking about two different things. Even that. So before we can clean it, we have to fix the problem, which is the water leak, because as soon as it rains, it starts getting inside. You know, the roof starts leaking, and then we may have a little mold or whatever over time if we don't fix the roof. Then the rodents is just what it is. They can't seem to stop them from coming in. So we don't know if they're coming in from the roof. We don't know if they're coming in from under the door, because we have some metal doors that are rusted through. I really can't, until we get those problems fixed, there's not much I can say, really.
So what the board is looking for from you is, what steps do you think we need to take to make it happen? Because the board's concerned about Fire Station 2 being closed, especially with the far west side of the community. All it would take is a few minutes for something to happen, and it might take that length of time, those extra few minutes, to get from Fire Station 1. So what do you think steps would you take to make this happen?
There's no steps that we can take. The mayor's telling me that he has it, he's going to open it up. He's going to get it fixed. So that's the only thing we can do, really, is get it fixed.
But as the chief, what do you think you would do? I mean, because,
Get it.
you know, I know the mayor closed it, but you're the chief. So what do you think really should be done?
Fix it. I mean, that's the only thing that can be done, because so in the letter we had things like the things that I mentioned that was wrong with it, and we had a couple of firemen complaining of getting sick, getting headaches, skin irritation, things of that nature. So I mean, it can open at any time, but then we'd be back at the same problem if we don't get it fixed. So it has to get fixed. That's all I can. I mean,
And has the mayor talked to you about doing any fixing?
well, what he told me it was he's working on it, and it'll be open in end of January. I think he even said at the board meeting it'll be open at the end
Yeah.
of January. That's what he told me.
This concerns me because with you as the chief, he should be discussing with you a game plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have a exterminator come in and look at. I mean, exterminators are great for coming in and looking, because I have that problem right now at my place of business, and they actually came in, walked the whole premises, got up on the roof, looked down, went into burrow holes, and they came back and said, this is what needs to be done. We can do this much. These are the things you have to do. Fix those doors with the holes in it. We have a metal building. They said you have to, you know, just take some metal screw here, here, here. This is what we found. And they gave me a report.
I think we had Sherry. I think we did have exterminators come out.
Yeah, we had our regular exterminator come out. He put traps up.
Right.
He did put some traps up. And we had a monthly, they were supposed to be coming back monthly, like to keep up maintenance with the traps and all of that. At this point, I would have to double check to see if we're still keeping up that maintenance with Station 2 being closed.
So
but-
we did have an exterminator
Yes,
program.
yes.
Okay, and it just wasn't working.
Not like it should, no.
Okay, well, to me, we need to identify all the issues, document the issues, and attack them one at a time until everything is done. Maybe that's what the mayor is doing, but we're going to put it on the board, the next agenda, to discuss it in depth, because it's not right to just say, I'm going to have it open by this day. I mean, the first things we were told is, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to have it open. Now it's in January, and nobody started on it, which is concerning. When are they going to do it? They're just going to start on it one day and complete it? So that's a concern to me. I think it needs to be open. You're hiring 3 firefighters, and firefighters, and hiring those guys. You're going to need room for them to stay. Do you have enough room for those firefighters right now? I mean, if you brought in the 3?
It'll be tight.
Yeah, see, that's a concern. I think somebody said the other day, one would have to sleep on the couch, and we definitely don't want that to be what the village portrays to new employees coming in the door. Trustee, you have any comment?
Okay, it's been closed 5 months, since July. Is it possible that you could coordinate with the mayor so that when we put this on the agenda for January 7th, we can give a progress update, because 5 months is unacceptable for a place to be closed, just based on the things that you've listed. And there might be some more, but is it possible that you could coordinate with the mayor so we can have a progress report for January 7th?
Yes.
And just to add to that, this is not, coming from me, this is not a beat-up report. This is just a real concern, because I think the village would be held responsible if somebody says it just took them too long to get here, and something happened to somebody. God forbid somebody would get hurt or perish in a fire because it took us just a couple minutes long to get there. So it would be greatly appreciated if you could work something out with the mayor so that he could give, one of you can give a real status report as to laid out what we're gonna do or where we're at, without any kind of a fight.
Yes, sir.
And the last item, anything else on that, Muhammad?
No, sir.
The last item is the budget, the status of the fire budget, where we're at. And I see you gave us something from Janice. And if you could just enlighten us where you think you're at right now with your budget.
We're exactly right in the middle. We're only over 12% in overtime right now. And normally it's like that because of the summer. You get a lot of people off during the summer, so we have a few more months. I think it'll even out.
And hopefully with the new hires,
It'll cut it down.
it's gonna cut it down so that we fall right in line.
Can I add that we are at the lowest this last pay period, that we just did was only $225.
That's good.
You need to say that on the mic, 'cause that wasn't recorded at all.
Yes.
Say that. Repeat that, Chief.
Last pay period, we're at our lowest overtime at 225 hours.
Okay, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Chief, we were talking about bringing those other officers on because we were looking at OT, which of course is stated here as premium. So are we still within that safe range and bringing those new firefighters on, and that it would lower? We know that it's been lowered thus far, but based upon your calculation, are we on track?
Yeah, hiring a fireman doesn't cause more overtime because we have a minimum manning of 4. So if we had 10 guys, as long as we don't get under 4, is when you get low and have maybe 6 guys, it's easier to get under 4. So the hiring is better. It makes it, the chances of getting under the minimum manning of 4 would be less of a
Okay.
chance.
Well, we're going to watch that number carefully, very closely, for the next Police and Fire Committee meeting that we have in January, the end of January. I don't have a date right now, but hopefully that 12% that we're over will be greatly reduced. When do you expect to have the new firefighters on?
We want to swear them in on the January 7th.
So that might not show until
No, it
February,
won't, because
March. Right.
they won't be here yet.
Okay, so as long as we are under in that figure at the end of the year is where hopefully the hiring of the new firefighters shows that we did not increase the budget.
Well, and let me add to that. We've had someone retire. We've had someone go off the job on a line of duty injury.
Right.
So these hires had to be done anyway.
Yes.
I mean, we're at 21. We should be at 24. So that's the main goal, to get to the number 24. So those individuals needed to be hired anyway, because we're the more we go under that number, the more overtimes are going to occur. So
That's understandable. Chief, I'm looking at an item here. It's a small dollar amount, but the organization memberships. This is a line item.
594.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is, I see that last year we were budgeted, or the actual was $6,600, and we were only budgeted $2,597, and we're at $4,700. For whatever reason, they
They cut that.
But you didn't cut it.
No.
Okay.
So when
it's
it
just
says
something you can
184%, it looks like it's a lot, but we've only spent $4,700 out of that budget. But it was so under budgeted that it makes it look like something astronomical, because it says 184, but it's really a small dollar amount.
Okay. All right, so
And that's really
look like you're just about 15% over budget year-to-date. It says 65% for the total department.
oh, right, exactly.
So it's not really bad number. Anything else you have on the budget?
No, sir.
Okay, Chief, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Chief Dyer?
Yes.
Thank you.
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Okay. That's very good. Happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever it is. All right. Next thing on the budget is, on the agenda is citizens' address. Sherry, do you have anything?
We'll be working closely with Red Cross coming up. Hold on.
Hold on, let's get you recorded for that.
I love it.
We will be working with Red Cross coming up at the beginning of the year. The goal is to have fire alarms in every home in Dalton. They want to do a presentation at the second board meeting in January because I'll be on vacation. And that's about it for me.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Can the fire department do anything for our Winter Wonderland on December 22nd? Since we got the fire and police here.
We are having Winter Wonderland December 22nd, and would appreciate anything that the police department or fire department could do as far as donations of toys, cash. We're going to try to have pizza for the kids. Trustee Muhammad might dress up like Santa Claus. I don't know.
Ain't happening.
So anyway, anything that the police and fire department could do.
Time and location?
The Dorchester
12 o'clock.
at 12 o'clock on December 22nd. That's next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday.
Okay, we'll check with the department and see what they want to donate. I know I'll donate. Chief Dyer will donate.
We know you always donate. We want to know about the two chiefs here we have. The chief
I know
of
Chief
fire
Dyer
and the
will, he
chief
will
of
donate.
police.
I'll donate this year.
Well, thank you, Chief. That's the guys that make the big bucks. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.